distress call began as a whisper. It came from the far edge of known space, where star charts were old and trade lanes were thin. The signal was weak, cracked by distance and damage. Most sensors filtered it out as noise. Some systems logged it and moved on. The message repeated every 40 seconds. Civilian world under attack. Requesting aid. Any aid. The planet's name was hard to pronounce in most galactic languages. It was small, poor, and far from powerful borders. No rare minerals. No strong military. No political value. The signal reached the galactic relay network within hours. And then it waited. The Galactic Council received it first. Their chambers were bright, calm, and far from danger. Automated systems flagged the message as low priority. A junior analyst reviewed it, sighed, and placed it at the bottom of the queue. There were bigger problems after all. Trade disputes, border talks, fleet repairs. One distressed planet meant little. Next, the message reached the merchant guilds. Their ships passed near the system but altered course. Fuel was expensive, insurance was strict, war zones were bad for business, helping would cost profit, so they ignored it. The warrior races heard the call as well. They listened, measured the risk, and calculated the reward. There was none. The attackers were strong, organized, and dangerous. Fighting them would mean losses, and losses were unacceptable. One by one, the great powers chose silence. On the surface of the distant planet, the sky burned. Enemy ships filled the atmosphere like dark clouds. Energy weapons tore through cities. Towers collapsed. Streets cracked open. Fires spread faster than emergency crews could run. Families fled underground shelters built for storms, not war. Children cried as the ground shook. Leaders sent message after message, their voices growing hoarse, their hope fading. Any ships nearby, please respond. No one did. Days passed. The attackers landed ground forces. They moved street by street, claiming territory with cold precision. The defenders were brave but weak. Their weapons failed against modern armor. Their numbers dropped fast. Hospitals overflowed. Power grids failed. Still, the signal kept repeating. The message grew shorter as systems broke. Under attack. Civilians dying. Please. Weeks passed. The signal lost strength. Most believed the planet was already dead. Far away, beyond busy space lanes and bright cities, a quiet listening post drifted near a dead star. It was old, forgotten by most charts, and crewed by only a handful of humans. The station's job was simple. Listen. Lieutenant Aaron Hale sat alone in the control room, eyes tired, fingers resting near cooled metal controls. The shift had been quiet, too quiet. Then a soft alert chimed. Hale frowned and leaned forward. Static filled his headset. He adjusted the filters, isolating the signal. The words were broken, but clear enough. Civilian, attack, requesting aid. Hale froze. He replayed it. Then again. It was not a drill, not a pirate trick. The signal carried panic, fear, real voices. Protocol said to log it and forward it up the chain. Hale did more. He listened. He listened to the background noise. Screams. Explosions. The sound of a world dying. His jaw tightened. Within minutes, the message reached Earth. In a quiet command center beneath the planet's surface, officers gathered around a single screen. No shouting. No panic. Only silence as the final playback ended. The room felt heavy. The planet was not listed as an ally. There were no treaties, no trade deals. One officer broke the silence. Council response. None, another replied. Signal's been active for weeks. Everyone ignored it. A third officer clenched her hands. Estimated civilian population, several billion, mostly non-combatants. The room grew colder. Earth had seen this before. In its past, humanity had sent its own calls into the dark. Long ago, when they were weak, when help never came, those memories were written into law, into doctrine, into culture. The highest-ranking commander stood slowly. They asked for help, he said. That was all. No debate followed. No vote was needed. Orders spread across Earth faster than the signal ever had. Shipyards powered up. Lights ignited across massive docks hidden beneath oceans and mountains. Old hangars opened for the first time in years. What the galaxy thought was humanity's full fleet was only the surface. Deep storage bays released ships the size of cities. Hulls black as night. Weapons silent but ready. This was not a patrol force. This was not a warning fleet. This was a response. Back on the dying world, the distress signal finally began to fail. Power flickered. The last transmitter overloaded, sparks flying as enemy fire shook the ground above. The message cut off mid-sentence. Silence filled the void. Across the galaxy, no one noticed when the signal died. No one except Earth. In the dark of space, engines began to burn. Humanity was coming, and the galaxy did not yet understand what that meant. The silence after the distress signal ended felt heavy. On Earth, the command center stayed quiet for a long moment. The last broken words still echoed in the minds of everyone in the room. A world had cried for help. A world had gone dark. No one asked if the planet was worth saving. They asked only one question. Are there survivors? Data screens filled with estimates. Underground shelters. Hidden cities. Underground shelters. Hidden cities. Emergency bunkers built deep beneath the surface. Millions were likely still alive. Afraid. Trapped. Waiting. That was enough. Orders began to move through Earth's military network. Not loud orders. Not rushed orders. Calm ones. Across the planet, systems that had slept for years began to wake. In shipyards hidden under oceans, massive doors slid open. Water rushed away as towering warships rose slowly into the light. Their hulls were dark and scarred, marked by old battles the galaxy never knew about. In mountain bases, engines hummed to life. Crews ran drills they had trained for, but never expected to use again. This was not a defensive alert. This was mobilization. Human civilians never saw the full scale. News channels showed only small fleets lifting off. Escort ships and carriers meant to look familiar. What launched in secret was something else entirely. Deep space hangars released vessels so large they bent gravity around them. Weapons platforms unfolded like steel wings. Energy cores burned brighter than stars. Humanity had learned long ago that survival required preparation. The galaxy believed humans were young, weak, still learning. That belief had kept them alive. In the command center, Admiral Reyes stood before the assembled officers. Her voice was steady. "The attackers are a known raider empire," she said. "Fast strikes, civilian targets, total occupation." A pause. No one intervened. A low murmur passed through the room. Reyes continued, "We will." There were no cheers. No prideful speeches, just acceptance. Human fleets were not built for conquest. They were built for moments like this. Each ship carried more than weapons. They carried evacuation teams, medical bays, engineers, supplies for rebuilding. Human war doctrine was simple. Save who you can, stop who you must. As fleets formed in deep space, long-range sensors picked up the movement. Alien observers noticed unusual activity around human systems. Ships were leaving in numbers never recorded before. Messages began to flow. Questions, warnings, demands. State your intent. Stand down. This conflict does not involve you. Humanity did not reply. They had heard those words before. At the edge of the attacked system, the enemy fleet celebrated. The last resistance had collapsed hours ago. Their commanders marked the planet as secured. Ground forces moved freely now. Cities were stripped. Resources claimed. Survivors were gathered. Victory was complete. Then sensors screamed. Space itself seemed to ripple. A single human scout ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the system. It did not attack. It did not transmit threats. It only observed. The raiders laughed. One small ship meant nothing. Then a second signal appeared. Then 10. Then hundreds. Human warships poured into real space in perfect formation, lines of steel stretching across the stars, engines glowing cold blue, weapons charged but silent. The raider fleet froze. They had fought many species. They had never seen anything like this. Some tried to communicate. "This system is under our control." No reply. Another message followed. "This is a private conflict." Still no reply. At the center of the human formation, a massive command vessel moved forward. It dwarfed everything around it. Its hull was marked with scars, not decoration. A single transmission finally went out. Clear, calm, human. This world sent a distress call. The raider commanders hesitated. "It was ignored," one replied. "By everyone." The human response came without emotion. "We are not everyone." Behind the fleets, troop carriers prepared for landing. Medical ships warmed their bays. Shield generators powered up around the planet. Humanity was not here to negotiate territory. They were here to undo a wrong. Far below, in the ruins of a shattered city, a small group of civilians huddled in darkness. Their air was thin, their power almost gone. They had stopped hoping. Then the ground shook. Not from bombs, from something else. A deep, distant sound rolled through the planet. Not destruction, movement. One of them looked at a broken monitor still barely working. New signals filled the screen. Unknown, powerful, close. For the first time in weeks, the sky above their world changed. The stars were no longer empty. Humanity had arrived, and the war was about to begin.
The galaxy did not fall all at once. It cracked slowly, like glass under quiet pressure. At first, leaders tried to pretend nothing was wrong. Council broadcast spoke of temporary instability and minor security gaps. But behind closed doors, panic spread. Without humans, things failed faster than anyone expected. Trade ships stopped moving. Hyperlane stations went dark. Navigation beacons drifted without repair. Systems that once worked smoothly now broke every hour. It became clear that humans had been doing more than trading and talking. They had been maintaining the galaxy. In the border regions, pirate fleets grew bold. They attacked worlds that had not seen violence for generations. Distress signals went unanswered. Entire convoys vanished in deep space. Military commanders reviewed old patrol maps. Human ships had been everywhere, near unstable stars, near ancient ruins, near borders that never truly slept. Now those places burned. On the world of Keshvar, a council-line colony faced invasion. Their defense fleet launched late, poorly organized, and without support. In the past, human ships would have arrived first, scanning, warning, pushing attackers away without firing a shot. This time, no one came. The colony fell in one night. Survivors sent broken messages across the stars. They all said the same thing. Where are the humans? Council chambers filled with fear. Analysts worked without rest. They dug through centuries of records, searching for patterns. Slowly, an impossible picture formed. Humanity had never ruled. They had never demanded tribute. They had never claimed authority. Yet they were always present when disaster was close. Humans had negotiated ceasefires no one else could. They had stood between enemies without firing weapons. They had stopped wars before anyone knew they had started. And they never asked for thanks. One analyst spoke the truth aloud during a closed session. Humans were not expanding, she said. They were containing. The word spread like fire. Containing what? That question was answered when deep space sensors began to fail. Far beyond known space, old signals woke up. Machine codes from forgotten ages. Massive objects moving without engines. Things that bent gravity and ignored shields. Threats sealed away long ago. Human patrol logs revealed something shocking. Human fleets had been quietly guarding those regions for centuries. Not fighting, watching, waiting, making sure nothing crossed certain invisible lines. Those lines were now empty. Fear turned into dread. Council fleets rushed to fill the gaps. They were too slow, too unprepared. Human ships had used unknown methods to travel and observe. Their maps showed dangers a galaxy never believed were real. Now those dangers moved freely. Then came the market crash. Without human trade stabilizers, currency systems collapsed. Worlds dependent on human logistics lost food, fuel, and medicine. Riots spread. Governments fell. Still, some leaders refused to accept reality. "They planned this," one general shouted. "They want us to beg." But the truth was worse. Humans were not threatening. They were absent. Every attempt to contact Earth failed. Every message sent into human space returned unanswered. Not blocked, not destroyed, ignored. The Sol system remained quiet, peaceful, untouched. Council spies reported no military buildup, no war preparation. Humans were not planning revenge. They had simply stopped caring. That realization terrified the galaxy more than any fleet ever could. During an emergency meeting, a young delegate asked a simple question. If humans were protecting us, she said, why did they never tell us? The answer came from an ancient archive, a human recording, centuries old. A calm voice spoke. Protection given loudly becomes control. Protection given quietly allows freedom. The room fell silent. The galaxy had mistaken freedom for safety. Now, freedom felt like falling. Reports flooded in. An ancient alien war machine activated near the dark expanse. A star-eating entity moved toward populated space. A machine swarm destroyed 3 outposts in one cycle. Human patrol zones. All of them. Council fleets engaged. They failed. Weapons bounced. Shields collapsed. Commanders died without understanding what they faced. It became clear. Humanity had known about these threats. Humanity had prepared for them. Humanity had chosen to stand alone between them and the galaxy. And now that shield was gone. The council chair finally spoke the words no one wanted to admit. We made a mistake. But mistakes could be forgiven. Abandonment could not. A decision was made. A diplomatic mission would be sent to Earth, not with demands, not with threats, with apologies. As the delegation prepared, another report arrived. Human defense systems had not been removed. They had been hidden. Earth was not undefended. It was untouchable. That truth broke the last illusion. Humanity had walked away not because they were weak, but because they were strong enough to leave. And as the galaxy burned and shook, one thought spread through every species. What would happen if humans never came back? The answer felt darker than extinction. The galaxy no longer argued about whether humanity mattered. That question was dead. Now there was only one question left. Why had humans stayed silent for so long? The Galactic Council ordered a full access search of every human archive they could reach. Old trade data, cultural records, scientific papers, military history, anything humanity had shared over centuries. Most of it seemed harmless. Music, stories, art, curiosity. But deeper layers told a different story. Human history was not peaceful. It was violent, chaotic, and full of mistakes. Humans fought themselves endlessly before ever reaching the stars. They destroyed their own cities, poisoned their own world, and nearly erased themselves many times. Yet they survived. That alone disturbed the council. One historian spoke during a closed session. Any species that survives this level of self-destruction does not fear war, she said. They fear themselves. The council began to understand. Humans did not avoid war because they were weak. They avoided war because they knew what happened when they lost control. Deeper in the archives, they found sealed records, files marked with warnings written in human language. Do not repeat. Do not test. Do not awaken. These records spoke of weapons never shown to galaxy. Not planet killers, but systems that broke laws of reality itself. Tools designed during humanity's darkest age, then buried when humans realized cost. One line appeared again and again in different forms. Victory without limits becomes extinction. The council trembled. Humans had not disarmed. They had restrained themselves. Meanwhile, the galaxy continued to fall apart. Without human pressure, old empires expanded aggressively. They believed power was the answer. Fleets clashed. Entire star systems turned into battlefields. But the true threats did not care about borders. In the outer dark, something ancient woke fully. It was not alive in a way the galaxy understood. It moved through gravity and time like water. Human patrol logs described it simply. Contain. Do not engage. Now it was free. Council fleets tried to slow it. Ships vanished without explosions. Sensors returned impossible readings. Crews reported voices that did not exist. One commander sent a final message before his ship disappeared. This thing, it ignores us. It was watching something else. Humanity. Fear turned into despair. The council finally asked the question directly. What did humans know that we did not? The answer was hidden in an old human philosophy archive. A recording played in the chamber. A human speaker stood before an ancient audience. We are not the strongest, the voice said. We are not the oldest. We are not the wisest. But we are the ones who keep the doors closed. The doors. That word appeared often in human texts. Doors humanity never opened. Paths humanity never crossed. Powers humanity refused to use. Because they knew what waited on the other side. Another truth emerged. Humans did not fear galactic war. They feared galactic collapse. They had seen it before. Ancient human star charts showed ruins older than any known civilization. Species erased not by enemies, but by curiosity and pride. Humans had learned the lesson early. The galaxy had not. As council fleets failed one by one, a quiet realization spread. Humanity had been the final barrier between the galaxy and forces it was never meant to face. And that barrier had stepped away. A young council member finally spoke the thought everyone feared. If humans return, she asked, will they still protect us? No one answered, because the truth was clear. Protection was a choice, and humanity had already made theirs. Then a signal appeared. Not a message, a warning. Human deep space monitors activated briefly. Ancient beacons flared once, then vanished again. The signal was not sent to the council. It was sent outward, away from the galaxy. Something had crossed a line humanity had drawn long ago, and humanity noticed. For the first time since they walked away, human fleets moved, not toward the galaxy, but toward the darkness beyond it. The council watched in silence as unknown human ships appeared on deep space sensors. Shapes never recorded before. Technology beyond anything known. These were not peace fleets. These were containment fleets. A final human archive unlocked automatically. A single sentence appeared on every council screen. When we step back, it is not surrender. It is restraint. The galaxy finally understood. Humanity had not abandoned them out of anger. They had stepped away to prevent something far worse. And now, the question was no longer whether the galaxy deserved protection. The question was whether humanity would decide the galaxy was worth saving at all. The galaxy had never begged before. It had threatened. It had conquered. It had destroyed. But begging was new. World after world fell into chaos. Refugee ships filled space lanes, carrying families with no home left behind. Once proud empires argued over food and fuel. Defense fleets guarded their own borders and ignored cries for help. The Galactic Council no longer spoke of control. They spoke of survival. Emergency meetings ran without pause. Many seats in the great chamber were empty now. Some species had lost their leaders. Others had lost their worlds. At last, the council reached a decision that would have been unthinkable before. They would go to Earth, not as judges, not as rulers, but as petitioners. The delegation was small. No warships, no weapons charged, only a single diplomatic vessel, stripped of armor and marked with universal peace symbols. As it entered the Sol system, alarms did not sound. No defense grid activated. No warning messages appeared. The system felt calm, too calm. Earth floated in its orbit, blue and bright, untouched by war. Human cities glowed softly. Ships moved peacefully between stations. Life continued as if the galaxy beyond did not exist. The delegation landed. They were met by humans dressed simply. No guards, no threat, only quiet eyes watching closely. A human representative stepped forward. He was not young. His face showed years of wear, but his voice was steady. "You should not be here," he said. The council leader lowered his head. "We have no right to demand anything," the alien said. "But the galaxy is breaking. We need your help." The human did not answer right away. Instead, he asked a question. "Why now?" The council leader hesitated. "Because we were wrong." The words tasted bitter. "We feared your strength. We mistook your silence for weakness. We surrounded you. We threatened you." The human nodded once. "Yes," he said. "You did." A long pause followed. "We did not leave to punish you," the human continued. "We left because you showed us something important." The council leader looked up. "What?" he asked. "That you want to control," the human replied. "Not safety." The delegation had no answer. They showed images of burning worlds, of fleeing ships, of things awakening in the dark. "We cannot stop them," the council leader said quietly. "Only you can." The human sighed. "For centuries, humanity stood between the galaxy and what waits beyond it," he said. "We did it quietly. We did it alone." "Why?" the council leader asked. The human's eyes hardened. "Because if we told you," he said, "you would try to use what we found." Silence filled the room. The human continued. "You would turn defense into weapons, curiosity into conquest, and you would open doors that must stay closed." The delegation understood too late. Humans had not hidden knowledge to gain power. They had hidden it to protect everyone. "Will you help us?" the council leader asked. The human did not answer directly. "Help comes with a cost," he said. "What cost?" the alien asked. "Trust," the human replied. "And limits." The galaxy had never accepted limits. That was the problem. Meanwhile, beyond known space, the ancient threat moved faster. Systems vanished. Stars dimmed unnaturally. Council fleets collapsed within moments of contact. The council begged again. "We will accept your terms." The human looked at her through the window. "Humanity will not rule," he said. "We will not lead your wars. We will not rebuild your empires." The council leader nodded. "Then what will you do?" The human turned back. "We will hold the line," he said. "One last time." The decision was not popular among humans. Voices across Earth debated fiercely. Many asked why they should save those who threatened them, why they should risk everything again. A single message appeared on human networks. "We protect not because we are thanked, but because we remember what happens when no one does." The human fleets prepared, not in open space, in the dark beyond it. The council watched as human containment fleets moved into forbidden regions. Massive structures activated. Ancient defenses awakened. The galaxy held its breath. But the human representative delivered a final warning. "This is not forgiveness," he said. "This is responsibility." "And after?" the council leader asked. The human's answer was quiet. "After," he said, "we will walk away again." The delegation returned in silence. Behind them, Earth remained peaceful. Ahead of them, the galaxy waited for salvation or judgment. The galaxy did not see the war. It felt it. Stars flickered. Gravity twisted. Long silent regions screamed with energy. Human fleets moved beyond known space into areas no other species had dared to enter. These were not the ships the galaxy remembered. No clean lines. No rig markings. Their hulls were dark, layered, and heavy, built for one purpose only: containment. Council sensors struggled to track them. Human technology bent rules the galaxy still believed were fixed. Ships appeared where they should not exist and vanished without trace. The first engagement was brief. The ancient entity moved through a dead system, feeding on a star. Council fleets had failed there within minutes. Human ships arrived without warning. They did not attack. They built. Massive structures unfolded in space. Fields of energy locked into place. Reality itself seemed to tighten. The entity resisted. Human ships held. The battle lasted seconds. The galaxy felt it like a shock wave. The star stabilized. The entity vanished, sealed behind layers of force no sensor could fully understand. One council observer whispered in horror. They were not fighting it, he said. They were putting it back. Elsewhere, machine swarms clashed with human containment lines. Entire fleets of autonomous killers shattered against invisible walls. Human drones moved silently, dismantling threats piece by piece. No celebration followed. Human channels remained silent. This was not victory. This was maintenance. But the cost was high. Several human ships did not return. No signals. No reiki. Just empty space where they had been. The galaxy watched, helpless. For the first time, it understood something important. Humanity was not invincible. They had simply been willing to stand where no one else would. As threats were sealed away again, the galaxy breathed slightly easier. But relief did not bring comfort, because now the Council knew what humans had truly been guarding, and what still remained. Human records unlocked one final layer. Ancient maps showed dozens of sealed zones beyond galactic borders, each marked with simple words. Do not open. Do not ask. Do not follow. The galaxy had lived safely because those warnings had been obeyed. Without knowing, a council member finally asked the question out loud. How long have humans been doing this? The answer was quiet. Since the day we learned we were not alone. Humanity had found the dark early, and it had scared them. They had built walls not to protect themselves, but to protect everyone else. Now those walls had cracks. One last threat moved. Not ancient, not mechanical. Something aware, something that learned. It avoided containment zones. It studied human movement. It waited. Human commanders saw it too. They changed tactics. This time they spoke. A single human message was broadcast to the council. We will stop this, the message said. But after that, we will leave. The council leader replied with fear. You cannot abandon us again. The human answer was simple. You must learn to stand without us. The final battle took place near the edge of reality itself. Space folded. Light bent. Human ships formed a line that no other species could have imagined holding. The entity struck. Human defenses broke, then adapted, at terrible cost. Human ships burned. Crews were lost. Entire containment systems collapsed and rebuilt in moments. Finally, the threat was sealed. Not destroyed. Locked away. The galaxy survived, but humanity paid the price. When the fleets returned, they were fewer. Scarred, silent. No victory broadcasts followed. No demands were made. The human representative returned to the council one last time. You are safe, he said. For how long? The council leader asked. The human looked tired. That depends on you. The galaxy wanted promises. Humanity gave none. Instead, the representative left a final record. Instructions, warnings, limits, and a single sentence. We showed you what stands in the dark. Now you must decide what kind of light you will be. Human fleets powered down their shared defenses. Patrol zones vanished again. But this time, the galaxy understood what that silence meant. It meant responsibility. As humans withdrew, the galaxy looked at itself, at its wars, at its pride, at its fear, and it knew something had changed forever, because now the galaxy knew the truth. The most dangerous thing in existence was not what waited in the dark. It was what happened when the one strong enough to stop it chose to walk away. The galaxy was quiet again, not the calm silence of peace, but the careful silence of something that survived a great danger and did not know what came next. Human fleets returned to their own space. Containment zones stabilized. Ancient threats slept once more behind walls no one else fully understood. And then, humanity began to leave. Not suddenly, not in anger. Slowly, deliberately, human patrol ships vanished from shared borders. Trade routes once guarded by humans were handed over with instructions and warnings. Human advisors stepped away from councils, fleets, and alliances. The galaxy watched in fear. They had been saved, but now they were alone. The Galactic Council called one final meeting with humanity. not in the Great Hall of Power, but on a neutral station, far from flags and fleets. The human representative arrived alone. No guards, no armor, no threat. The council leader spoke first. "You saved us," he said. "The galaxy owes you its life." The human nodded. "We did what we believed was right," he said. "Then why leave?" Another delegate asked desperately. "Why turn your back again?" The human looked around the room. "At some point," he said calmly, "protection becomes dependence." The word struck deeply. "For centuries," the human continued, "we stood between you and the dark. But while we stood there, you stopped looking outward." Silence followed. "You fought each other," he said. "You competed. You demanded control. You feared strength instead of learning responsibility." The council leader lowered his head. "We were wrong," he admitted. "Give us time. Stay. Guide us." The human's eyes softened, but his answer did not change. "If we stay," he said, "you will never stand on your own." That truth hurt more than any threat. Humanity offered something else instead. Knowledge, not weapons, not control systems, not forbidden power. Understanding. Human engineers released simplified containment theories. Human historians shared records of ancient failures. Human philosophers shared one final lesson. Strength is not what you can destroy. Strength is what you choose not to. Then humanity stepped back. Again. But this time, the galaxy understood why. Years passed. The galaxy struggled. There were wars, but fewer. There were mistakes, but lessons were learned. Some civilizations fell. Others grew stronger. They built their own patrols. They watched the dark themselves. They remembered the warnings. And slowly, the galaxy changed. Not because humans ruled it, but because humans had trusted enough to walk away. Far beyond known space, human observers watched quietly, not as guardians, as witnesses. One day, a new signal appeared. A containment alert, not from humans, from the galaxy. A young multi-species fleet responded to a dark anomaly near an old sealed zone. They did not rush blindly. They followed the rules humans had left behind. They held the line. The threat was contained. Human observers did not interfere. They smiled. Back on Earth, the same human representative looked at the stars. "We taught them," he said softly. Another human asked, "What if they fail?" The answer came without hesitation. "Then we will try again," he said, "but not today." The galaxy never forgot the lesson. They told their children stories, not of human weapons, but of human restraint, not of conquest, but the day the strongest species chose to walk away. Because that was the day the galaxy learned something terrifying and beautiful, that humanity's greatest power was not its fleets, not its technology, not its weapons. It was the choice to leave, and the courage to trust others with the future. The stars shone quietly, and for the first time, the galaxy stood on its own feet, stronger, wiser, and forever changed by the moment. The entire galaxy trembled. When humanity turned its back,